Intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Michelle, and for the next hour I will be reading from the July 3rd issue of the Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Cover story: A Guide to the 4th. Celebrate July 4th at these festivities. The 4th of July is often a time when people seek ways to get together with their friends and family. Luckily, there are a number of local celebrations, including parades, festivals, and music performances that can add to spending the holiday together. Here's a look at some of those events. By Harry Skull, Jr. July 3rd, Buffalo River Fest Park's Independence Day Concert. 6:30 to 10, July 3rd at the Buffalo River Fest Park, Ohio Street. The free event includes music by Flipside and fireworks. Food and beverages will be sold. Buffalo Bison's Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra Key Bank Independence Eve Celebration. 6:05, July 3rd at Salem's Field, James Griffin Plaza. This annual holiday doubleheader is always popular. First up is the Buffalo Bisons versus Rochester Red Wings game at 6:05. Afterward, at about 9, the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra will perform a program of patriotic tributes, including God Bless America, Stars and Stripes, mixed with pop culture favorites like The Thriller and The Natural. A colorful fireworks display closes the evening. Town of Aurora Celebration, 1:30 to 10, July 3rd at Hamlin Park, South Grove Street. The Town of Aurora Parks and Recreation Department's day-long festivities include a parade, variety theater, live music, and food. Board a trackless train, laugh with comedian Nels Ross Cremium, and enjoy hot dogs and pizza. Fireworks are at 10. Cheektowaga Freedom Festival, 5:30, July 3rd at Cheektowaga Town Park, Harlem Road. Plus parade on July 4th. This annual event starts at 5:30 with a beer tent and food trucks. Local band Impact will perform from 6 to 10. Fireworks are at dusk. There will also be a food drive for the Resurrection Life Food Pantry. A parade on July 4th starts at noon on Walden Avenue and travels to Cheektowaga Town Park. Lockport Parade and Fireworks, July 3rd. Cheer on the floats at Lockport's parade, which starts at 6 at Lockport High School and ends at the intersection of Locust and Walnut Streets. The fireworks begin at 9 at Gooding Street and can be viewed across Lockport. Town of Tonawanda Celebration, 6 to 10:15, July 3rd at Kenny Park, Colvin Boulevard, Tonawanda. Listen to live music, watch fireworks, and stop by various food trucks at the park. July 4th, Genesee Country Village and Museum, 10 a.m. to 4, July 4th at the museum, Flint Hill Road, Mumford. The historic village has several activities planned, from live music to a 19th century themed parade to a pie eating contest. Also, see a recording of What to the Slave is the 4th of July, and vote on a number of museum initiatives. Free for museum members and children 12 and under, $20 for students, $23 for adults. Multiple days. Dunkirk 4th of July celebration, July 3rd to the 6th at Memorial Park, Lakeshore Drive, Dunkirk. Enjoy 4 days of activities, including entertainment, vendors, and fireworks. On July 4th, vendors open at 11. Music starts at 2. with a Back to the 80s theme featuring Party McFly, Furious George, and Nerds Gone Wild, followed by fireworks and the national anthem. In case of inclement weather, fireworks will be on July 5th. The 10th annual Marauder Trotter Run Walk, hosted by DHS Class of 1989, starts at 9 a.m. July 6th at the Wright Park, Dunkirk. Great Pumpkin Farm 4th of July Carnival, noon to 9, July 4th through the 6th, Main Street, Clarence. Amusement rides, family games, live music, food, and drink. Fireworks are at dusk on July 6th. Admission is free. Old Falls Street Festival, July 4th through the 7th, along Old Falls Street, Niagara Falls. Hours are noon to 10, July 4th through the 6th, and noon to 6 on July 7th. Old Falls Street on 4th of July weekend will be filled with performances by artists like Grace Logan, Prestige Worldwide Band, Western New York, and Skyline Duel, as well as food trucks and costume figures like Lady Liberty. Village of Lancaster 175th Anniversary, July 3rd through the 5th, various times. The Village of Lancaster's 175th anniversary celebration partly coincides with its 4th of July festivities. On July 3rd, families can enjoy the Lancaster Public Library's Pinwheel Craft Hour, and cyclists can participate in a 10-mile bike ride hosted by Western New York Bikes, starting at West Main Street. The 3-day Independence Day celebration, July 3rd through 5th, at West Main Street and the Save-A-Lot parking lot will have carnival games, food trucks, and live entertainment by such artists as Nerds Gone Wild and Terry Buckwald. The parade starts at noon on July 4th. More fireworks at Akron, July 3rd at Veterans Park. Fireworks start at dusk. Batavia, July 3rd, following the Batavia Mac Dogs game at Dwyer Stadium, Bank Street. Lewiston, July 4th at Academy Park, Center Street. Starts at dusk. Niagara Falls State Park, 10 p.m., July 4th, Terrapin Point and Prospect Point. Niagara Falls, dusk on July 4th at Hyde Park. Niagara Falls, July 5th at the Seneca Niagara Casino, Niagara Falls. Fireworks start at 9:40. No on-site vantage points. Watch from nearby Seneca Casino. Alcott, July 3rd at Cruel Park, East Lake Road. Fireworks run from 10 to 11. Orchard Park, July 4th at Orchard Park Middle School, Lincoln Avenue. Fireworks start at dusk. Salamanca, July 4th at Seneca Allegheny Casino. Fireworks at 9:40. Tonawanda, July 5th off Tonawanda Island along the Niagara River. Fireworks start at 10. Hot tickets for the week of July 3rd through the 11th, just announced. Postponed the Bruce Hornsby and the Noisemakers concert originally scheduled for July 8th at the Riviera Theater has been postponed due to vocal issues for Bruce Hornsby. The new date is 7:30, October 7th at the same venue. Original tickets will be honored on the new date. New location, Music is Art Festival will now be held at the Terminal B in the Outer Harbor from 11 to 11, September 11th. ABBA Revisited Tribute Show, 3 p.m., December 8th at Shays 710 Theater, Main Street. Emily Wolfe, 8 p.m., August 24th at the 9th Ward, Babeville, Delaware Avenue. Erie County Fair, August 7th to the 18th at the Fairgrounds, McKinley Parkway. Advanced admission tickets are now on sale and will only be available through July. Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue, 8:30 November 14th at the OLG Stage, Falls View Casino, Niagara Falls, Ontario. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 3rd issue of the Gusto from the Buffalo News. Things to do. Lipsy Jazz Series Siege at Old Fort Niagara by Tony Roberto. Here are highlights of some of the events happening throughout the week. For events celebrating the 4th of July, please turn to page in the middle, 6. Siege of Fort Niagara, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Friday, July 5th through Sunday, July 7th at the Old Niagara Fort, Youngstown. Old Fort Niagara has much history to share with visitors from its nearly 300 years of standing guard at the mouth of Niagara River. One of the many historic events at the siege of 1759 during the French and Indian War is such an important time every year on the weekend closest to July 4th. The fort commemorates the historic siege with a 3-day reenactment with hundreds of participants coming from across North America. There are 4 battle enactments along with artillery firings, period artisans, period merchants offering 18th century wares, and Native American councils where you'll hear allies speak in original languages including Mohawk and Seneca. Lipsy Summer Jazz at the AKG, 2 to 4 Sundays starting July 7th on the steps of the Lincoln Stairs outside the AKG Art Museum, Elmwood Avenue. This long-running free jazz series is a wonderful way to spend a Sunday afternoon outside enjoying great music in the picturesque setting behind the AKG Art Museum. Opening the series on July 7th is Star People, a group launched as a tribute to jazz great Miles Davis. With arrangements by Bobby Militello, the band features drummer John Bacon, pianist George Caldwell, trumpeter Mark Flissinger, trombonist John Hasselback Jr., bassist Joe Goyle, and saxophonist Andrew Weinsler. Coming up, Jeff Jarvis and the Buffalo Big Band All-Stars July 14th, Heather Bamrick July 21st, J.D. Allen with the George Caldwell Quartet July 28th, and Trey May August 4th. Bring a blanket, folding chair, and goodies to eat if you like. Lavender Festival, 9 to 4, Saturday, July 6th at the Park Circle, Angelica. About 16 years ago, a group of women had a vision of lavender. It involved fields of the flowering purple plant throughout Allegheny County and a festival to attract visitors to the picturesque small town of Angelica. For the festival, they gathered local artisans who made lavender-inspired products. Today, the festival continues to grow with about 20 new vendors added this year. Sunny Cove Farm will have lavender-infused baked goods, along with other items like soaps, Bentley and Sons honey. A third-generation beekeeper family returns with honey products, including lavender-infused honeys. This year, the festival honors co-founder Patricia Cake, who died in 2023, by raffling off a handmade quilt she started that has been completed by her daughter, Shannon Lackey. Another daughter, Marika Burke, photographed and designed the event poster. In her memory, free lavender plants have been donated by Aunt Jan's Eden Grove to give to the first 100 customers. It's about an 80-minute drive from Buffalo to Angelica, the perfect amount for a summer day trip. Tall Ship at Canalside, Saturday, July 6th and Sunday, July 7th at Canalside. The Letty Howard Tall Ship, a National Historic Landmark, is coming to Canalside. Free tours are offered from 1 to 6. both days on the ship. The last surviving example of a Georges Bank fishing schooner. Private sales are available. Buffalo Waterfront, which is hosting the ship, will also have other programs that weekend, like Indigenous education activities, a sand sculpture, and an I Love New York activation experience, spotlighting New York locations. 100 Days opens Wednesday, July 10th at the Music Fair Theater, Damon College, Amherst. What if you only had 100 days to live? That's the theme in this regional premiere of a musical that explores how we can make the most of the time that we have. Directed by Teresa Quinn, the musical runs July 10th to August 4th. It stars Anna Krempholz, Teresa Quinn, Kevin Stevens, Nick Stevens, Samantha Sugarman, and Jay Wolin. Music and lyrics are by Abigail and Sean Benjen, who also wrote the book, along with Sarah Gashert. Performances are 7 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays, 7:30 Friday, 3:30 and 7:30 Saturdays, and 2 p.m. Sundays. Meet the cast. Talkbacks are July 17th, 24th, and 31st. Tickets are $55. Here's a look at some of the outdoor concerts coming up. Ellicottville Summer Music Festival, July 4th through the 7th at Holiday Valley Road. Highlights include Mark Martel at 9:15 July 6th, and the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra performing at 8 July 7th. Fireworks start at dusk. Janet Jackson is joined by opener Nelly for a concert at 8 p.m. Friday, July 5th at Darien Lake. Apple Wine and Carl Dixon perform in the next concert in the Rockin' the Down series at 5:30 Friday, July 5th at Batavia Downs. Kids Bob Kids return to Darien Lake for an afternoon show at 4 p.m. Sunday, July 7th. Adam Duritz and Counting Crows, along with James Maddox and David Imbolglucks, play 7:30 Tuesday, July 9th at Terminal B at the Outer Harbor. Television. Capitol Fourth returns with patriotic fanfare by Luann Lee. Strike up the band, pack up that picnic, lunch, pull out the Sousa score. It's that time of year again. On July 4th, America will celebrate its independence from those tax-loving linies and light up the skies with fireworks and charcoal briquettes. To commemorate the holiday, PBS will be presenting its annual A Capitol Fourth extravaganza with talent like the legendary singer-songwriter Smokey Robinson, award-winning actor Darren Crisis from Glee, the queen of percussion Sheila Platinum Fantasia, selling singer and actress Fantasia, multi-platinum selling band Fitz and Noel from Fitz and the Tantrums, Sister Sledgefoot, legendary Olympic medalist Shawn Johnson East, recording artist Lauren Allred, choreographer Britt Stewart, and maestro Jack Everly, conducting the National Symphony Orchestra. All these proceedings will take place live from the lawn of the U.S. Capitol. Back to host the event will be Alfonso DeBerry, famous as the enthusiastic MC of Dancing with the Stars and America's Funniest Home Videos. Rubio, first popular to the Muppet from Silver Spoons, the preppy son from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and the clinical doctor in the house, had no intention of becoming a TV host. It wasn't something I ever thought I should pay attention to this. But in my career, I always felt I wanted to do many different things. Being an actor and singer and dancer, stage performer, television, movies, now directing and producing, I've always felt I wanted to put my hand in every aspect, he says. I want to know, hey, can I do that? Let's try it. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? If I don't succeed, okay, I don't succeed. I'm not the kind of person who feels he has to be successful at everything. I work hard at it, but if I don't make it, I don't. So I don't go in with that pressure. Ribeiro is used to pressure. His parents introduced him to showbiz when he was in grade school, and he captured his very first role when he was 9. For years, his dad served as his manager, and Ribeiro worked most of the time. One of the theories my dad shared with me as a kid, there's 2 ways to think about life. You can work really, really hard in your youth to make sure that when you're older you don't have to work hard, and you won't really enjoy your youth as much, but you'll have a much better life when you're older. Or you can enjoy your life young and roll the dice when you're older and know you had a great time. I went with the latter, he says. I probably would be much more successful and have a lot more money if I went with the first one. But I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the planet because I get to do all the things I love to do, and I get paid for it. Even so, when Ribeiro was 16, he decided to end his career. I quit the busyness for about 2 years between the ages of 16 and 18. I'd finished doing Silver Spoons. I was obviously a kid, and I decided I wanted to go to high school and be like a normal kid for a little bit. Then I went to college for a year, and I said, I don't know if I really want to do this, acting, for the rest of my life. I want to venture out and see what the world possibly has for me. I realized very quickly I went to college, and I went, yay, not so much. This whole thing, no, I'm good. I'm going to call my agents and tell them to send me in auditions. But he didn't have to audition for this show. I'm incredibly excited and honored to be host of a Capitol 4th. Once again, he says, it is going to be a great 4th of July party, and we're going to get everyone in our nation's capital and all those watching at home on their feet dancing. Rousing patriotic favorites performed by the U.S. Army Band, Pershing's Own, and the U.S. Army Herald Trumpets will cap off the musical finale in the eye-popping fireworks display presented by the National Park Service, will reign over the National Mall and Memorial Parks in the D.C. skyline. A Capitol 4th will air on PBS and stream on YouTube and PBS at 8 p.m. July 4th. Art. Artists capture summer mood in Layers exhibit by Abigail Lee. Now on exhibit in Buffalo Art Studio, Community Space Gallery, Tri-Main Building Center, Main Street. The free exhibit continues through August 9th. Fabric cut and threaded into overlapping cloud shapes, a botanical digital portrait of a butterfly and a flower whose colors bleed to the bottom of the frame. Bright acrylic and gouache patterns on wood, a painting of a dazzling avalanche. These pieces are Ashisa's Cloud by Angela Guest, Cascading Carmine Botanica by Colleen Aaron, Insufficient Memory by Kelly Schmore, and Avalanche by Helen Beckley Forrest are some of the many multifaceted and vibrant works in Buffalo Art Studio Layers exhibition, now open. The exhibition's title refers to the way the Buffalo-based artists meld or overlay different materials and textiles together in bursts of color. There is something a little whimsical in all 4 of these artists that appealed to me, said Shirley Veraco, Buffalo Art Studio Visual Arts Director. The works she added are all approachable, well-crafted, and fit the warm summer atmosphere. Veraco curated the exhibit after seeing the works during the Buffalo Art Studio's annual Live on 5 Spring fundraiser, where artists contribute 5-inch by 5-inch artworks that are put up for auction. Aesthetically, the artist had similar approaches by building up all of these layers. Layers of color, layers of texture, layers of materials, and layers of meaning, Baracco said. Many of their works also reference nature and botanical life, which additionally complements the summer mood. Beckley Forrest, for example, has explained climate change through some of her pieces. For layers, she will be creating a new piece called Skin that comments on the relationship between landscapes, both the human body as a landscape and the non-human body, she said. The theme is the interdependence of humans and nature. Buckley Forrest often uses unstretched canvas, acrylic paint, plastic, and sewing in her work. The others similarly merge craft with more conventional practices like painting and drawing. Guest stitches multicolored fabric into lattices and clouds and jagged compositions. Schnoor makes acrylic and gouache paintings as well as mixed media collages. Anson works with digital photography, creating manipulated images on different creatures and flowers, sometimes affixing feathers around the physical frame. Buckley Forrest said she hopes that the spotlight on how artists experiment with craft work may create more appreciation for it. I personally just really love the intimacy of textiles. There's so much softness there, and I think there's a huge history of femininity to it. Buckley Forrest said, I love seeing stuff that would be considered craft before becomes fine art. Although many of the works in the exhibit are abstract, they all carry a lively energy. I think we're all really excited to be out of doors and after the long gray winter that is Buffalo, to see the nature waking up and the colors intensifying, Baracco said. This is a nice time of year to be able to just dive in and enjoy just how bright and active the work is. Events. Stroll through those local garden walks by Abigail Lee. Grab a bucket hat, some friends and family, and start strolling. It's a garden walk season. Through the end of July, gardeners across the Buffalo region are welcoming visitors to see the blossoming results of their careful efforts. Garden Walk Buffalo kicked off the region's annual tourist-attracting floral spectacle 30 years ago. Now the organization, Garden Buffalo Niagara, highlights more than a dozen free garden walks in various neighborhoods. Some even have other events attached, such as art shows and food trucks. Here is a selection of some upcoming garden walks by date, which collectively draw thousands to the region every year. Town of Amherst Garden Walk, 10 to 4, July 6th and 7th. This garden walk includes more than 30 gardens in Amherst and Williamsville, spanning business, community, and residential areas. Find a map at the garden centers in Amherst. Samuel Capon Garden Walk, 10 to 4 and 8 to 10, July 13th, and 10 to 4, July 14th. Now in its 23rd year, this walk offers views of more than 70 gardens. The route takes participants through Amherst, Eggertsville, Tonawanda, and the University District. There's also a nighttime walk from 8 to 10, July 13th. Buzz Around Hamburg, 10 to 4, July 13th and 14th. The Hamburg event boasts gardens of all kinds, from formal to whimsical, according to the online description. Stop by the garden vendor fair held at Memorial Park, where you can also pick up a map. Both days, as well as nearby spots like the 18 Mile Creek Overlook. Grand Island Garden Walk, 10 to 4, July 14th. See a mix of exotic and native species in this garden walk. and explore the natural surroundings such as Beaver Island State Park and the Buckhorn Island State Park. Kenton Garden Walk, 8:30 to 11, July 19th, 10 to 4, and 8:30 to 11, July 20th, and 10 to 4, July 21st. Residential gardens in Kenmore and Tonawanda will be on display during the day and night at this event, started in 2022. Maps can be found at the Tonawanda Aquatic and Fitness Center. East Side Garden Walk, 10 to 4, July 20th and 21st. Since it began in 2018 to foster community relationships, the East Side Garden Walk has invited people to appreciate East Side residents' wide-ranging gardens and to get to know the area. This year's walk includes more than 100 gardens varying from home gardens to urban farms. The third annual backpack giveaway also will be held during this weekend, as well as a Garden Walk Buffalo. Maps will be available online. Garden Walk Buffalo, 10 to 4, July 27th and 28th. More than 300 gardeners are participating in this year's Garden Walk Buffalo, the biggest garden tour in the U.S. Find maps online at gardenbuffaloniagara.com, Walk Buffalo, or in person at the Garden Walk Buffalo headquarters, Kennedy Field House, West Side, Community Services, and St. Mark's School. Food and drink. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 3rd issue of the Gusto. From the Buffalo News. 2 Neapolitan pizza spots win national awards by Francesca Bond. Buffalo is no Naples, but the area's Napoleon pizza is earning some recognition on a national scale. Jay's Artesian Pizza, Delaware Avenue, Kenmore, and Pizzeria Florian, Main Street, East Aurora, were both named within a list of top 10 pizza spots in the country, created by Italian online pizza guide 50 Top Pizza. Jay's ranked number 6, and Pizza Florian, only open for 5 months, ranked number 44. It's nice to be recognized for all the hard work we put in, and Jay's owner Joe Powers. The pizzerias are closely linked. Jay Langfield opened and operated Jay's Artesian Pizza, where he gained a following for his wood-fired Napoleon pizza. He sold the business in 2020 to Powers, who has been working at Jay's since he was a teenager. Langfelder trained him in the art of Napoleon pizza, thin dough topped with seasonal and local ingredients, which Powers continues to make. Powers has moved up the ranks of 50 Top Pizzas list for the last 4 years. Langfelder opened Pizzeria Florian with his wife Amanda Jones in June, after spending the last few years catering, including making pizza for Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez's wedding. The pies of Pizzeria Florian's are Napoleon-inspired, but also infused elements of other Italian and New York-style pizzas. Langfelder had been named to that list before when he owned Jay's, but Jones said they were shocked to make it on the list as soon after opening. Fifty Top Pizza is an international media company started by an Italian journalist in 2017 that ranks pizza in the U.S. and internationally every year. Its inspectors, people with no professional involvement in the food sector, create a list of candidates, then dine anonymously at each potential pizzeria, judging the food and service. Langfelder, Jones, and Powers all attended an award ceremony at the Chelsea Market to receive their award on June 25th. I'm sure to other people that don't work in the restaurants or work in pizza, it's not a big deal. But to us, it's a huge deal to be recognized in the country, especially being in New York State, where you tend to get outshadowed by New York City, Jones said. It shows how much good food there is in Buffalo on a national level. They'll see that Buffalo is a city worth visiting for the food scene. Restaurant news. Tappo Italian on Ellicott Street is offering lunch service for the first time since COVID. Tappo owner Phil Lumina said he's ready to see if the lunch crowd will return. We kind of want to test what's down there, Lumina said. A $10 lunch special with a smaller entree portion, salad, and soda is being offered at least through the end of the summer. Aquacafes, a new spot for authentic Mexican food in Margarita Towers, opened June 24th on McKinley Parkway, formerly the Buffalo Wild Wings. It's the third Aquacafes location in the area, owned by restaurateur Jose Castaneda. Castaneda also recently opened La Fiesta Cantina in Allentown. Food events. Prix Fix multi-course dinners available at a fixed price and an adventurous way to try local cuisine. Grange Community Kitchen, Main Street, Hamburg, continues its summer Prix Fix Tapas series July 7th with menu of breaded Spanish ham and cheese croquettes, grilled octopus, and sherry cream-topped olive oil cake. Those who like champagne, caricature, and cacti may want to take note of Grays at the Gardens, a picnic from 10 to 4, July 7th, on the front lawn of the Buffalo and Erie County Botanical Gardens, South Park Avenue. The Graceful Gatherer, a local cutterer, will sell snacks, while the Bubble Bar will sell sparkling wine. Food and drink. Beacon Grill fills long vacant Allentown space, by Francesca Bond. Anyone who's ever worked toward a dream knows that it takes time. You pocket nuggets of information here and strikes of inspiration there, emptying them into a mental piggy bank full of plans. Amanda and Bruce Walzala have created their piggy banks to open their restaurant, Beacon Grill, Allen Street. Additional to investing every penny they have saved throughout their long careers in the restaurant industry, the couple poured all of their ideas, years of "that's how I do it" moments into Beacon Grill and made little to no compromises to their vision. First, there's the space. They toured several then vacated high-profile restaurant spaces, such as the former J.P. Bullfeathers, before settling on an unlikely building that had been vacant for more than 2 decades and had never been a restaurant. The Wilzalas outfitted the space from scratch, embarking on renovations that came with one major upside: complete creative control. Then there's the kitchen. A stainless steel Argentinian-style wood-fired grill roars like a high-tech campfire. Bruce Wazzalo first cooked on a similar grill at the Atlanta restaurant under acclaimed chef Michael Tucci. Tucci's farm-to-table philosophy of using seasonal local ingredients and cooking them over flame-ridden logs was a huge inspiration to Wazzala. Beacon Grill's hearth is visible and fragrant to diners. The open-concept kitchen offers a transparent peek behind the curtain for diners and allows Bruce and his team to watch guests dig into their creations. You get that instant gratification when you see somebody take their first bite, Bruce said. Bruce is the chef while Amanda leads the front of the house. She spent the last decade managing Italian-American restaurant Tappo, where she was inspired by the pairing of a laid-back atmosphere with elevated food. Amanda intends for Beacon Grill to be the kind of restaurant where anyone can belong. Growing up, you always had to go specifically to a fine dining place to get good quality food, Amanda said. We don't think it should be that way. We wanted to create a space where everybody can just feel comfortable. Bruce Wazzella established a name for himself as chef at various local restaurants, most recently at Chez Amis, the fine dining restaurant in the Curtis Hotel, and previously at the Terrace, Thin and Tabri, for his approach to pork and charcuterie. He follows a low-waist, snout-to-tail philosophy, utilizing as much of each pig as possible. He may grind the innards into a creamy pate, fry the skin into crispy caricatures, and render the fat for baked goods. His pigs come from farmer Michael Parco's Darien-based Always Something farm. He sources chickens from East Aurora's Herba Verde farms and produces from Flat 12 Mushrooms Native Offerings, Oles Family Farm, and Plato Dale Farms. Seafood is shipped overnight from Boston and Honolulu. The menu will change seasonally about 4 times a year, while specials rotate daily and weekly. Many of the items are informed by Wazzella's travels and dishes they have savored over the years. A favorite dish from their Spanish honeymoon inspired a charred octopus small plate. Wazzella plans to throw his own spin on Tonawanda Chinese restaurant Peking Quick One's matchstick like shredded potatoes. I'm really trying to focus on ingredient-driven seasonal dishes, Bruce said. We've got the wood fire. That's just going to impart so much flavor that you don't have to overcomplicate it. Wazzella's signature cured meats are available on a charcuterie board with pickles, mustard, and toast. A changing daily selection of cheese is ordered separately. The menu ranges in portion size and price from vegetable-forward small plates to sandwiches to larger meat-focused entrees. You could swing by for a creative cocktail or mocktail, an appetizer, or order a sizable entree, such as a bone-in ribeye with steak fritters or smoked duck breast with farro, black raspberry, and a side of local vegetables. Many of the dishes are vegetarian or can be made vegetarian, and Beacon Grill also offers some gluten-free and dairy-free options. Beacon Grill will be open from 4:30 to 9:30 for dinners Tuesday through Saturdays, except for July 4th. The restaurant will offer a different late-night menu from 10 p.m. to midnight on Tuesdays through Thursdays, and from 10 to 2 Fridays and Saturdays. The Wazzellas have assembled a team of some of their favorite collaborators. Bruce's second-in-command chef cuisine, Dustin Murphy, recently returned home to Buffalo after a stint in Cleveland, where he helped open a James Beard-nominated restaurant, Cordelia. Sous chef Greg Kebsiak has worked in kitchens at Oliver's, Sienna, and JT's Bar. Manager Frank Pusateri helped open cocktail bar Ballyhoo. It's really cool to have this team back together, Amanda said. They're all a little bit older and a little wiser. It's a very full circle moment. Movies. It's more Minion Mayhem in Despicable Me 4, rated PG, by Jake Coyle. Should a review of Despicable Me movie be thoughtful analysis or just a list of the funny stuff the Minions do in it? As much as I might believe in the value of film criticism, I kind of suspect that even the finest points of assessment would be dismantled about as fast as a Minion can say hello. Since they first emerged in the original Despicable Me in 2010, the Minions have meandered through movie theaters with impunity, soaking up some $4 billion in ticket sales and spawning a franchise that, with its latest entry, Despicable Me 4, and counting the multiplying Minions spin-offs, numbers 6 movies and counting. Along the way, they've accumulated bits of vocabulary from around the globe to add to their gibberish squeals. In Despicable Me 4, I heard antipasti, bazooka, and something that sounded a little like the old Goonies line, "Hey, you guys." So the Minions continue to evolve, even if the movies don't. 6 films in, and with more on the way, too much of a good thing is becoming more of a pressing question to Despicable Me 4, a silly and breezy installment from Illumination Entertainment that passes by with about as much in to remember it as a Saturday morning cartoon. That's not all bad. Much of what makes the Despicable Me movies fun is that they avoid any sense of seriousness like the plague. They stand proudly in the Looney Tunes realm of animation with little aim beyond loosely stitching slapstick sequences together. There's a good chance you might cry during a Pixar movie, but if you wept during a Despicable Me movie, someone might call for help. For Despicable Me 4, the filmmakers have, as if unsure about where to go next, smashed 4 or 5 sequel plot lines together. The film starts with a school reunion, the Lystipon School of Villainary Class of '85, where Gru encounters an old rival, Maxine a la Mare, played by Will Ferrell, a French-accented cockroach-obsessed villain. Gru is attending, though, as an agent for the Anti-Villain League. One hopes there is somewhere an anti-hero league led by Travis Bickle and Walter White. Gru traps Maxine and arrests him, but in short order, Maxine breaks out of prison and vows revenge on Gru, sending their family, wife Lucy, played by Kristen Wiig, and their 3 adopted children, Margot, played by Miranda Cosgrove, Edith, played by Dana Gare, and Agnes, played by Madison Polan, into witness protection. This gives the movie a few jokes about Gru, who may be family man now, but who still has the bearing of a supervillain trying to blend in. He tries to impress their next-door neighbor, a snobbish country club member named Perry Prescott, played by Stephen Colbert. But there's also a new character at home, Baby Gru Jr. That allows for some decent gags. The Minions, dressed like a race car pit team, help change dirty diapers with a t-shirt gun, but overly familiar ones. Gru Jr. is crawling in the footsteps of another child born into an atypical family with a big-torsed, spindly-legged father, Jack of The Incredible 2. That may be why Despicable Me 4 also quickly moves on from this narrative, shifting for a time into a heist movie. Gru is blackmailed by the Prescott daughter, Poppy, played by Joey King, into stealing a honey badger from his old school. Meanwhile, the Minions back at AVL headquarters are used as guinea pigs for a new serum. 5 of them are turned into the Mega Minions, a Fantastic Four-like assemblage of minionized superheroes that have powers, flight, electricity, a toy ray gun eyeball, that they're predictably useless at controlling. One boulder-shaped minion is keen enough to swallow a bomb before it detonates, but not to prevent his belch from causing just as much damage. So yes, it will take a lot more than a so-so 6th film to slow down the Minions. Though there's little that distinguishes this latest overstuffed Despicable Me series, veteran director Chris Renaud with co-director Patrick Lalage and writers Mike White and Ken Duriel are in something between cruise control and autopilot on this careening, carefree sequel. The Despicable Me movies have always benefited from the somewhat judiciously meting out their minions, even if they very handily upstage the franchise main characters, their second banana henchmen who patiently wait for their many cameos. In Despicable Me 4, one gets trapped in a vending machine and nonchalantly spends the rest of the movie there. If that's not a show of force, what is? Movies. Maxine recalls sexy 80s horror flicks, rated R. By Katie Walsh. Say hello to Maxine Minks, played by Mia Goth, of Wes Maxine, the third installment in this hastily dispatched X trilogy. Last we saw Maxine, she was beating a quick retreat away from a Texas porn star massacre, leaving a trail of bloody carnage in her wake. It's now 6 years later, in 1985, LA, and Maxine, an industrious porn starlet and peep show performer, is determined to transcend her trashy, traumatic origins to become a capital S star of the silver screen, no matter what it takes. Maxine won't let anything get in the way of stardom when she scores her first mainstream film role. In a horror sequel titled The Puritan 2, No Butchered Friends, No Night Stalker, No Pesky LAPD Detectives, and No Annoying Private Eye, played by Kevin Bacon, on her tail, Maxine will not accept a life she does not deserve, and don't you forget it. Like the previous two films in the trilogy, Maxine offers writer-director-editor West an opportunity for genre play. If X was a grimy 70s slasher and prequel Pearl was a Technicolor musical with X murdering, Maxine wears the skin of a sexy, sleary 80s erotic thriller, but that proves to be only aesthetic. There's neither eroticism nor thrills, it's just a cute costume. All the audio and visual signifiers are there. A great soundtrack, meticulous production and costume design, recreating 80s Hollywood, lots of stylistic nods of giallo films, and the filmography of Brian De Palma. But West doesn't wield these references with any intent, and in fact there are far too many. The film is too clever by half, but it's not even that clever at all, and there's the rub. West bonks us over the head with gestures to film history. A Buster Keaton impersonator threatens Maxine in an alley. She stubs out a cigarette on silent film star Theda Bara's Walk of Fame star. Bacon, done up in Chinatown drag, chases her into the set of the house from Psycho, but none of these references add up to anything meaningful. It's disappointing because X was a fascinating piece about locating one's own desire and self-actualization through mediated images. It's clear West thought a lot about making a film located in a specific genre that spoke to the powers of making this thorough making movies. It was smart and sly, and there was so much premised in this thesis, which was further explained on a character level in Pearl, and which could have been built upon in Maxine, though the themes of Voyager surveillance in the erratic thriller, but it is all welcomes just hopelessly muddled. Ultimately, Maxine is a lot like the set through which she is chased on the Warner Brothers back lot. A beautiful facade that's empty behind the walls, all surface, meaningless symbols, and not an ounce of substance to be found. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 3rd issue of the Gusto. Your reader has been Michelle. Thank you for listening.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,